Okay, we're going to solve some LeetCode problems. Let's do it. We're going to start with a little bit more advanced stuff. Okay, what we want to do is okay. Replace what we want to replace the employee ID with the unique identifier. The case that we're given here is ID is the primary key, and for this table. And now for each row, okay, great. So we know that the ID is the identifier, but we want to replace it with the unique ID. Okay, so we want to each row write a solution to show the unique ID for each user. If the user does not exist, then replace and just show null. All right. So what are some we know that we have to do a join. What kind of join? So it's going to be by definition now, since that we're being told that there might not exist, then we kind of know that it's going to be a left join, right? So what are we doing here? We're going to do, and we want the final output to be the unique ID and name. So we're going to do unique ID. Now, yeah, they want it to be renamed as, no, they want to keep it as unique ID. So great. So unique ID name from employees, and this is where we're going to use aliases. But let's make sure we're using the left join. And we're using left join because there are going to be cases where potentially employee, the unique ID is not to capture any cases. So now we're going to do a left join on e.id equals we said EU dot ID. Is that the case? So is the each row of this table contains an ID and the corresponding unique ID of it. So the ID is the linking factor here. Let's check it out. Okay. Submit. This should pass. Great. I've already done it. Let's just go to the next one. We need to do more. All right. And this is the primary key. So let's go through it. You have a product, you have a sales table. You have that gives you the sale ID, product ID, year, and quantity and price. Okay, great. And you have the product. We want to create a table. We want to create a report by product name and by year and price for each sale ID and for each sale ID in the sale price. So here we're going to be pulling together the product name into our sales. And we're going to be doing an aggregation. So let's do select. So we want to do by cell ID, right? For each cell ID. So that already gives you an indication that the cell ID, we're going to be grouping it by this. Now we want the product name, year, and the price for each. Okay. Now, in this case, when I have the product ID, I don't think we're going to be doing any level of aggregation. Right, as we can see, there is. Does it say any level of aggregation here? there's no aggregation that is stated here. So this could just be, it's very poor statement, but here we're going to do year, we're going to do price, we're going to do from sales, we'll call it S. Now, if we're doing a left join, that's assuming that there are going to be cases where there are products that don't exist, that exist but aren't sold. But really, since we really want the sell ID, we can do an inner join, because the products that are not in the sales table, we don't really care about them, right? So we'll do on s dot product ID equals p dot product ID. This should give us, oh no, so group by, no, so right, what we wanted to do, they wanted to know by product name. They did want to roll it up. They don't want the sale ID. They want the product name. So this is one of those cases we really have to the report is product name, year, and price. So we don't need sale ID. And it says any order. So we don't need to do any kind of ordering. And this is what we're going to go with: product name, year, and price. Great. Oh, isn't that funny? I am working on the wrong tab. That's not helpful to anyone, is it? Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one here. Second, let's take a slight pause. Make sure. All right. Great. So let's move on to the next question. Customers who visited but didn't take any transactions. So what are we trying to? This is we're going to be doing a left join where something is null, right? They visited, okay, but there was no transactions. So we're going to do select, and what do we want to just return the IDs themselves. So we want to get the visit, the customer ID, okay, and it seems like we just want, okay, so the customer ID and count of no transactions. So let's make sure we always really make sure that you verify what the question is and what we're trying to do. We want to write a solution to find all the IDs of all the users who visited without any transactions and the number of times they made these types of visits. Great. So you can have customers who visit and do a transaction and they don't do a transaction, or you can have both. So let's do the following. What we're going to do is we're going to create the customer ID, and we're going to do a count. Count. Now we're going to the assumption we're making is that in the visits, the visit ID is going to be unique, right? So you can't have it duplicated. So given that the case, we're not going to have to do a distinct visit ID as visit count, okay, from visits. Great. Now we want to do a left join on, let's just give this an alias of v, transactions. We're going to do a left join on the transactions table. And we want to do it on visits.visit ID equals visit ID equals visit ID. Visit ID is our key. And we are going to count the number of times where the transaction ID is null. Okay. Now, this will do is we'll do group by one. This should give us, oh, right. So we want to we'll do visitor ID. Always make sure you're clearly specifying. That's not good. Oh, see, I don't like this. Count of no transactions. Okay, so right syntax. The question didn't specify exactly how the columns should be structured. I'm not going to sweat it over this, right? Okay, so now this is interesting. Well, we're here. Let's just see what kind of here. See, this is interesting because this is essentially what we're doing, but for some reason that query got ranked. So you see, this is really exactly the same query that we are doing. So don't always take into consideration where you fall. If I rerun my same code, I guarantee it's going to be in a different place in this distribution. No, it's actually not. Now I'm intrigued because I see this is more elegant because now we're not doing a left join. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one.